Right there, let's go. Yeah, you. Go right there. Hello. To your bed. Hello. Kick your ass. Keep it up. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Maybe not now, but maybe in the. You gotta let me know ahead of time. Yeah. How you doing, J-Man? Good morning. That's good. I'm good. I'm having a platter here. How are you? Long time no see. It's been a while. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Little home fries platter. Fucking hot here. I was buttery too. That's nice of you. A lot of people don't do that. Mm-hmm. Let's see what TMZ is talking about with this case.
When an A-list lawyer signed on to the most shocking celebrity murder case of the decade. But when that same lawyer bolts before the client is even arraigned, that is news, my friends, and that is the jaw-dropping twist that we all witnessed in Los Angeles today. Rob Reiner's son, Nick Reiner, was in court this morning answering to 2 counts of first-degree murder. Because last month, Rob and his wife, Michelle, that would be mom and dad, were found butchered in their own bedroom. Their son, Nick, was arrested quickly. And in court this morning, Nick Reiner watched alongside everybody else while his high-powered attorney, Alan Jackson, told the court that he is out. Nick Reiner, 33 years old, was sentenced to 20 years in prison. He 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 was sentenced to
On behalf of Richard Jackson and with Mr. Reiner's understanding and consent, would ask to withdraw as counsel of record based on the conversation that we've had in chambers and the explanation we provided to the court in chambers. We feel that we have no choice at this juncture but to withdraw as counsel and ask to be relieved.
I blew up his phone today, by the way, asking Alan, what? Explain? Didn't get a response. I'm not surprised. There's a mystery. We'll find out. But the judge agreed to all this.
Wow.
And instead of Alan Jackson, Nick Reiner now has a public defender. And her name is Kimberly Green. Judge also delayed the arraignment more than a month to February 23rd. And officially, that was that. Outside court, though, different story. Reiner's now ex-attorney, Alan Jackson, had lots more to say.
This morning, I had to withdraw as Nick Reiner's counsel. Circumstances beyond our control, but more importantly, circumstances beyond Nick's control, have dictated that, sadly, it's made it impossible for us to continue our representation of Nick. My team and I remain deeply,
all right, sleep well.
Deeply committed to Nick Reiner and to his best interests. In fact, we know, we're not just convinced, we know that the legal process will reveal the true facts of the circumstances surrounding this case.
The legal process, there's a lot of language there, and it's nuanced.
Hi,
Unless
everyone.
you're one of those arcane people who follows court all the time. Yeah, maybe the legal process will find him not guilty. But I doubt of killing his parents. There is the insanity defense, which is by reason of insanity.
I'm not locked
Guilty
up,
doesn't mean you
Tracy.
are free. It can mean
I'm
you spend the rest
home.
of your life in prison, and we got plenty of examples of that. Spokesperson for the family says, and I quote, they have the utmost trust in the legal process and will not comment further on matters related to the legal proceedings.
And if I was locked up, I wouldn't be live streaming on YouTube.
Revealed, and my old friend Harvey Levin and his team at TMZ are usually the first people to unearth the facts, and they did this time. So we chatted just a short time ago. Harvey, what is your reaction to this bombshell that Alan Jackson is stepping away from Nick Reiner's case?
So we broke that story today.
Not in New York.
And we have been hearing this. So, look, I think there are things I can say and things that I just can't. But I will say this, that the Reiner family, when you look at their statement saying what we want is, we want justice, essentially. But they never define what justice is. And I think that in itself is telling. That you've got to imagine that this family has so many conflicting
But how you
emotions.
doing, everyone? Please hit
hand,
that like and subscribe
Nick Reiner
button.
Is their flesh and blood. On the other, the flesh and blood of their parents was basically butchered in that home, courtesy of Nick Reiner. That's pretty clear. And so for that family to process the loss of their parents, the way they were killed, who killed them, and then to have some understanding of what was going on in Nick Reiner's world. And there is a big story there, Ashley. It is a slew of emotions. And so when you look for one answer to this, I don't think you're going to find it.
You're not.
Yeah, you know, I am so interested in what you just said regarding the justice. Our family wants justice. It could mean justice for Nick. It could mean justice for Rob and Michelle. And I'm so curious about the money. You and me, we both follow the money because that's what we've been taught as journalists to do. Do you think that the Reiner family cut him off and said, you're not accessing the Reiner money for a big, expensive lawyer?
I don't think that's what happened here. Based on what I know. Makes sense. I know why you're saying it. Crossed my mind too. I don't think that's what happened here.
Have you had a chance to talk to Alan Jackson at all and find out what's behind this move?
Yeah, I think what's behind the move is a very complex issue with this family. That they have lost their parents in a brutal way. at the hands of their flesh and blood.
Yep.
So, you know, again, when you think about them saying what we want is justice, they never define justice. And frankly, Ashley, from what I'm hearing, that's not an easy thing for them to define. They want justice for their parents, but there's also something big that is going on with Nick in terms of mental health. It is why Alan Jackson got in front of the cameras after he withdrew today, or on Wednesday, and said that Nick Reiner will be found not guilty of murder. He is saying that not because he's arguing that the Reiners did not die at the hands of Nick. He's saying it because where this case has been going, Ashley, is not guilty by reason of insanity. And that's where this case is heading. And it has to do with mental health, and it has to do with allegations that the mental health system has shockingly failed Rob, Michelle, and Nick Reiner.
Wow.
Well, I know that your special that's coming out on
So
Friday,
they're putting the system on
TMZ
trial now.
investigates the Reiner murders, what really happened. You've uncovered some critical evidence, I think, to the very point you're making right now, and that is not guilty to some people doesn't incorporate the not guilty by reason of insanity. Doesn't mean you didn't commit the crime. It just means you're not mentally capable of being guilty by reason of law. So can you share anything or at least tell us a little bit about what you've uncovered in the special?
I can be specific. So a month before the murders, Nick was on antipsychotic meds. Nick had been diagnosed around 2020 with a form of schizophrenia. We know this. Schizoaffective disorder. It is a severe form of schizophrenia.
It is.
It not only involves psychosis, delusions, but also involves severe mood
Thank you, I
disorders.
appreciate it.
And when you combine the two, it becomes volcanic. So Nick had been on antipsychotic meds for several years, and a month before the murders, what we are being told is those meds were working. They were working fine. There is for some reason, his doctors changed the meds.
Oh boy.
And it sent him into orbit. He became delusional. He became dangerous. The Reiners saw it. They were alarmed. It built and built and built the month before the murders. And it all revolved around a change in the meds. Now, what I am told, Ashley, I'm going to tell you what I know and what I don't know. What I'm told is that there was absolutely no justification to change the meds. And the reason it was changed, I am told, would shock you, would absolutely shock you. And that you can't even look at logic to understand it. As to what it is specifically, my sources will not say. But they know something about the change in these meds. And I have confirmed this with others too, that the meds did change, and he just went off the rails. And so there is something about that change that directly connects to.
So they should hold the doctors responsible for that.
Murders.
Which may be the reason Alan Jackson went out with a bang and said, I can tell you definitively, he had very strident language, that Nick Reiner is not guilty of murder, which, again, remind everybody, it doesn't mean not guilty of committing them, just by reason of insanity, which leads me to my next question. Without Alan Jackson there, he's got a public defender, but do you expect this public defender to stay in place long, or do you think some other high-octane attorney is going to step up?
So look, if this defense is used, I don't see how the public defender can do this, because as you know, that in cases like this, you need expert witnesses. This is complicated. He was in rehab 18 times.
No, I'm not in prison.
That you and I have not
I'm home, you fucking idiots.
Those 18 stints in rehab, about what the rehab facilities did and didn't do, and there's a big story there. So they're going to need a lot of expert witnesses. We are talking hundreds of thousands of dollars just for the experts, not to mention what a lawyer might cost. And I don't know that the public defender has the resources to do that. So I honestly don't see this being handled long-term by the public defender. Will another lawyer step in? If I had to guess, the answer would be yes. And, you know, we just have to see how this plays. I think money is an issue here. And it's not that the Reiners don't have the money. Rob Reiner was worth a fortune. But, you know, right now there is an estate, there are family members, there are feelings. So I think you got to see
You gotta put the feelings aside, though.
out. And I think money, you know, could become a factor here. But it's money mixed with feelings, and that gets really complicated.
Harvey, I have so many other questions for you, and I have most of the
Fucking
questions
hot.
about competency and insanity. They're two totally different things, and I can see both of them brewing. Can you stand by for just a bit till the B block?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, more Harvey after the break. So the murder case against Nick Reiner is barely out of the gate, and already he's on his second attorney. And his potential hypothetical defenses, mainly centered on drug addiction and mental illness,
Fucking hot.
are being dissected online daily. As you're no doubt aware, Nick Reiner is accused of fatally
I'm not
striking his own
gay.
parents to death. Legendary actor and filmmaker Rob Reiner and his
You'll
wife,
get blocked.
But Nick's outgoing lawyer, the prominent and successful Alan Jackson, declared today, and I quote, "Nick Reiner is not guilty of murder." But surprisingly, that statement can actually mean a lot of things. TMZ's Harvey Levin and I spoke extensively today about
People
the
will
path
keep getting
forward for
banned.
Nick
That
Reiner
keep it
and
up.
what his chances of prevailing actually are. Here's more of our conversation. There is one thing when it comes to insanity.
Please like and subscribe
there is
if you know.
another thing when it comes to competency. And competency is the gateway to walk into a courtroom in the first place. Is there any chance that Nick Reiner is going to be ruled incompetent and can't even stand
Thank
trial?
you.
There is a big chance. And it has to do with what we talked about a few minutes ago, which is that Nick is still not stabilized from these drugs. He's now being treated by jail doctors, and these drugs are not working. In order to be competent to stand trial,
Why
you
would I
have
be
to
in
able
daycare,
to
guys?
assist in your own defense.
I'm
I have
home.
real questions about whether Nick Reiner at this point is capable of doing that.
Well, you also have to understand the charges against you. And if he's in that kind of psychosis, he may not even know that his parents are dead. I mean, this is a high bar, even though people don't think it is. It kept Elizabeth Smart's captors out of court for the better part of a decade.
Well, I can only talk about.
Don't forget to like and
right
subscribe,
now,
everyone.
We're going to have in the documentary, but I will say this about what you just said. Even if somebody knows what they did, I'll give you an example. There's a man named David Carmichael who was in Canada, and he strangled his 11-year-old son. He was on an antidepressant. He became psychotic, and he not only he strangled him in a hotel room, put him on the bed, watched television for 6 hours, and called the police and said, "I just killed my 11-year-old son." So David Carmichael knew exactly what he had done. He pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, and the judge accepted it. So you can know what you did, but a lot of people in a psychosis do it because of a delusion that they're doing it to save the person. They're doing it because in their mind, that person has become an ominous threat, something like that. So even if they know what they've done, that doesn't mean they're still competent to stand trial. It has to do with understanding that, you know, what the case against them is, whether they can assist in that case, help the lawyer, and that's an issue. But don't think it's just about not understanding what you've actually done.
No, what I'm always fascinated by.
No, I'm not
is
Muslim, though.
The circumstances that bring
Puerto
certain
Ricans
people
do the
into
same thing,
courtrooms
bro.
where they do rule
Puerto
them
Ricans
incompetent. Oftentimes
don't
they
shave
even know what's
sometimes.
going on around around them. I mean, it can be so bad, and we don't know the situation with Nick, but we know it's bad. Let's move to the possibility that he jumps over the bar for competency. And it is ruled that he is competent to stand trial. Well, now there's a whole other kettle of fish to attack, and that is, does he know right from wrong, right? That's a big one. And is he able to assist in his defense? And one of the issues with Nick Reiner's pattern after the murders is that he took off. He got a hotel room. He washed himself off. Those are really, really difficult facts to get past if you're trying to establish that he didn't know right from wrong.
Okay, I'm not trying to be contentious today because you and I have known each other for years, but I will argue with you on that because knowing right from wrong is not an essential element of the insanity defense. The insanity defense means that you don't understand the nature and quality of...
If people keep saying I'm in prison, I'm going to ban them.
I just mentioned, knew that he killed his son. He also called the police and said that he believed he would end up in prison for the rest of his life because he felt what he did was morally right, even though he felt it was legally wrong. So David Carmichael knew exactly what he had done. He knew it was against the law. He did it because of his delusion, yet they found him not guilty by reason of insanity. Similarly with Nick, you're right. Nick fled. Nick went to a hotel in Santa Monica. Nick, well, watch the documentary, but there are other things he did.
Something's coming, yeah. Something's coming. I can tell you're going to drop something really, okay. You got to come back on this show in the next couple days, you know, because I can sense you're holding back a little bit.
You almost got
But
it out of me.
listen, I will say this, Harvey. Some
There are other things.
states have two prongs,
things.
right? Some states have the McNaughton rule, which means you got to have two prongs, which is I don't know the difference between right and wrong, and I don't understand the charges against me. There are two different, but California may be different. In any case, I can see that you've got something more. So will you come back on the show?
Of course I will.
He's high.
I always love talking to you because you're a lawyer. Harvey Levin, thank you so much.
How's everyone's day? Good? Mine's is alright. It's kind of hot. Guys, I think I'm going to take a break. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back later.